Hi, welcome back to Dragonslayer's Academy. I wanted to talk to you today before I started reading about something called figurative language, because this author, which is Kate McMillan, has used a lot of figurative language in the book. And I've kind of glossed over some of it, and I think it's really important because you should be looking for figurative language in your books too. That's how authors draw vivid images for us so that we can really visualize the story. And so let's take a look at a couple. Way back in the beginning, it said, Wiglaf picked up the pig and started along the spine of rocks jutting out from the quicksand. So a spine of rocks is an example of figurative language, because actually it's not a real spine, is it? But we know what a spine looks like, and we know that it would be curved and sort of in a straight line with the rocks in a row. And so that really helps us to picture how the rocks were in the quicksand. Another example was, then with a loud slurp, the quicksand swallowed up the wizard, this time hat and all. Did the quicksand really swallow the wizard? No, the quicksand isn't even a person, so it doesn't even have a throat. But that's called figurative language. And so we get this picture of it going and kind of eating the wizard all at once. Of course, he wasn't really swallowed. We know that he could come out again because he did before. So there's one more that I wanted to share, which was recent. I think I read it to you yesterday. It said, oh, remember when Torblad the Terrible and Baldric the Bald weren't really terrible or bad at all? Right, so then the boy Angus says, I'm afraid Uncle Mordred sometimes stretches the truth. The truth is a statement. It isn't something that can actually be stretched like a rubber band or like Play-Doh. So when you say stretch the truth, you're saying that he doesn't always exactly say what is true, but he says things that are sort of true, but he exaggerates. So stretching the truth is another example of figurative language. Today, as I'm reading, I think we will find a couple more examples of figurative language. See if you hear them before I say anything. Do you remember that Coach Plunget with the page boy haircut? And it gets mentioned several times, page boy haircut. And usually when the author says something more than once, there's a good reason for that. So he's teaching them how to slay a dragon. Plunget, get it? Plunget? Okay. Good work, Coach Plunget told him when he held his breath to count of 50. Now, before we start slaying, why don't you give the DSA cheer for our new boy? Belt it out now, boys. At once the whole class began shouting at the top of their lungs. Rooty toot ho, rooty toot hey, we are the boys from DSA. We slay dragons, yes we do, big ones, bony ones, fat ones too. We slay dragons, young and old. We slay dragons, grab their gold. Yay, yay for good old DSA, hey. Hey, Coach clapped at the end of the chair. All right now, line up in the front of old Blodgett. Quickly, lads, go on. Wiglaf and the others lined up in front of a large dragon. It wasn't a real dragon, of course. Old Blodgett was this wooden one covered with cloth and stuffed with straw. Slaying is the most important class here at DSA, Coach told the boys. You can find a dragon, you can stalk a dragon, but if you cannot slay a dragon, you cannot get the hoard. Today we will practice slaying method number 7. The throat thrust. Aim here. Coach Plunget pointed the tip of his sword just under old Blodgett's chin, where a target had been painted. Not many scales in that spot. Watch me now. Coach Plunget faced the false dragon. He drew his weapon, galloped a few steps, and with a toss of his brown page boy, thrust his sword deep into the dragon's neck. The author is mentioning that here again. That's the third or fourth time. Wiglaf cringed. He knew that no blood would spill for the dragon. Still, his stomach did flip-flops. His stomach did flip-flops. Your stomachs don't really turn over inside of your body. That would be very dangerous and unhealthy. But it means, of course, like stomach has butterflies, that he felt uneasy and nervous. Wiglaf watched with growing dread as each boy took a turn stabbing the dragon. When it was his turn, he drew Surekill, galloped toward the dragon, and stopped. Go on, boy, Coach Plunget urged him. Wiglaf backed up. He gripped Surekill more tightly. He stared at the target on the dragon's throat. He galloped forward again and stopped. Yeah, the pressure is that he doesn't want to kill anything, even a practiced dragon. That's not the kind of person that he is. Blazing King Ken's breeches, Coach cried. Aim here. He pointed at the target. Wiglaf backed up some more. He swallowed. If he could not plunge his sword into this dummy dragon, what hope did he have of ever slaying a real one? Yeah, this is a sign of what he does when he's under pressure and it goes against what he really wants to do. This shows a lot about Wiglaf right now. Wiglaf took a step toward old Blodgett, then another, and another. I cannot watch, Coach Blodgett moaned. He turned away in disgust. But Wiglaf kept on. Faster and faster it came. At the last minute, he closed his eyes. Hey-ya! He thrust Surekill up toward the dragon's chin. But somehow Wiglaf missed. He went flying past the practiced dragon and landed on a bale of straw. His eyes popped open. Around him, boys were hooting and pointing. Wiglaf glanced at Surekill. His heart nearly stopped. He had missed the practiced dragon, but he had speared some small, brown, furry creature. There it was, stuck on the end of his sword. Why is everyone laughing? Wiglaf wondered. When I have so cruelly killed I'll take that, growled the coach. Wiglaf looked up to see a very bald Coach Plunget snatched the hairy thing from the end of Surekill and angrily set it back on his head. Only then did Wiglaf understand what the creature he had murdered. Coach Plunget's own brown page boy wig. Oh, so funny. Wiglaf picked at his lunch of boiled eel on a bun. Coach Plunget was sure to give him an F in slaying now. He had really messed up royally, and on his very first day of school. Come on, Wiglaf, eat up, Angus told him. You do not want to be late for Mordred's class. Mordred, Wiglaf shuddered. What would the headmaster do to a new boy who had nearly slayed the slaying coach? With dark thoughts, Wiglaf followed Angus to a stone-walled classroom. As the boy sat down on a rickety bench, a huge man in a red cloak strode through the door. Thick black hair sprouted from his head. His violet eyes bulged like overripe plums. Yup, figurative language. Eyes are not overripe plums, but you can picture an overripe plum. Can you picture eyes bulging like that? That's what the author does to help us to make a picture of what this person looks like. Attention! Mordred the Marvelous called. The children leaped to their feet. Wiglaf did too. At ease, Mordred commanded, and the boys sat down. Let us review, the headmaster said. Why are you here at Dragonslayer's Academy? To learn to slay evil dragons, Eric called out at once. To make the world safe for little children, to save villagers from... Yeah, Mordred interrupted, holding up a hand heavy with gold rings. That's all well and good. But what about yesterday's lesson? What did I say? Anyone? Baldric? A small freckle-faced boy with a runny nose stood up. We are here to learn how to get a dragon's golden hoard, sir, and bring it back to you, sir. Correct, Mordred grinned, showing a shiny gold front tooth. To bring me gold and to take some, a teeny bit maybe, home to your parents. He cleared his throat. So what's going on there? What do you think? Cleared his throat. Now, who remembers how to find a cave-dwelling dragon? Again, Eric was the first to answer. Look for burn spots and shrubs and bushes, he called, and big footprints with 3 long toes. Mordred nodded. And when you spot the dragon, what must you look out for? Beware flames of death, Eric shouted. Beware a dragon's poison spit. Correct, Eric. Mordred sighed and looked around. Anyone else? Beware the eyes that never close, Eric called again. Beware the knife-sharp teeth. Beware the powerful lashing tail. Thank you, Eric, Mordred said. Now, what else must a dragon hunter know in order to slay such a beast? How to talk in dragon, Eric called. How to be brave. Mordred nodded. Anything else? Well, at last Eric was quiet, and so were all the other boys. But Wiglaf had listened well to the minstrel's dragon tales. He knew there was one sure thing Eric had not mentioned. Timidly, he raised his hand. Mordred's bulging eyes lit on him. Ah, the new boy, the one who scalped Coach Plunget. The headmaster chuckled. So, new boy, what else should a dragon hunter know? A dragon's secret weakness? Wiglaf said meekly. That's right. Mordred's eyebrows shot up. Oh, everybody knows that, Eric complained. Let the new boy tell what he knows of dragon secrets, Eric, Mordred said. Maybe you will learn something. From him, Eric muttered. Not likely. Okay, I see that we're running out of time here, so I'll stop there and we'll see if we can find out what Wiglaf has learned about dragons' weaknesses. And also, please, please look for figurative language when you're reading your books. You might even start keeping track of some of that in your black and white notebook.